Are you still trying to figure out how to implement those NPCs into your party? Are you still trying to figure out why they're motivated, what their stats are, etc.? Well, today we're going to be going over Adaptable NPCs by Trevor Armstrong.
Welcome to the Homebrew Crew. I'm Tony, this is Sean, and today we're going over Adaptable NPCs by Trevor Armstrong that we found on the DMSGuild.
Yeah, and this one's been around for a little while, and it's pretty high ranking on there.
It's
but
doing great.
For good reason, though. I gotta say, we've gone over a lot of different NPC things on the channel. Ironically enough, we've gone over sidekicks and followers and things like that. But Adaptable NPCs is a little different. It's not just adding followers or little guys to the party. This actually adds a lot of different NPCs that you can kind of splash into a campaign, and it helps you give motivation, stat blocks, and things like that to them if they're an enemy or an ally or whatever they are.
And stick around till the end of the video. After our review, we're going to go over how you can actually play with these into your homebrew campaign.
Yes.
But with that, we want to start getting into Adaptable NPCs. So what is Adaptable NPCs?
So it adds 70 brand new NPCs that you can add to your campaign, as well as at the end of the content, there's actually 8 short quest hooks that you can add.
Which is really cool.
We can detail in that a little bit later, but we actually kind of wanted to show you kind of a few examples of what kind of NPCs you're going to find.
So, Sean, I have a campaign that we're going to start playing on the high seas.
Yes. For example, like possibly the Ghost of Saltmarsh.
Yeah, the Saltmarsh campaign, sure.
Yeah.
But I need a good, murderous pirate kind of thing, and I don't want anything too over the top. What can you offer me?
Let's see. Murderous and not too over the top. Well, I think a goblin fits that book pretty well.
Does he throw bombs?
He could if you pick the Goblin Corsair. This one's really cool. This is basically a goblin that has a little bit of pirate flavoring. And then the one thing I will mention is that for every single NPC, there's actually a short description, and it gives a little couple traits. Like for this one, drunken murderous pirate, Goblin Corsairs bring terror to the seas and coastal villages. Woe betide a creature that thinks these merciless swashbucklers will show them any quarter.
That's exactly what I'm looking for. So what can he do?
Yeah, so it's kind of similar to Goblin Statistics. They still get Nimble Escape. However, they get a couple like pirate-themed things. So one of my favorites is Sea of Thieves. So it actually gains advantage on all skill checks as long as it's on a water vessel on the open sea.
See? So if he's on a rowboat in the lake, it does nothing.
Yeah, pretty much.
But if he's on the open sea,
then he's all good. And you also get Dirty Fighting,
which I think is cool. That one's pretty neat.
Very fitting as well. Very nicely themed.
You can knock over the target, right?
Yeah, as a bonus action on a successful melee attack, you can knock him prone. And then they actually get a couple different attacks. So they get a dagger, very goblin-like, but they also get a blunderbuss and a bomb toss.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and the blunderbuss hits pretty hard too. Well, it's a 1d6 plus 2, plus 4 to hit on that. And then the bomb toss recharges on a 6. So you still have to roll that d6.
And it actually does the damage of like a bomb you can buy at a general store. It actually does a 3d6 fire damage on a DC 12 dexterity save. But it's kind of cool, and we're going to say this for all the NPCs we're going to go over. It's great because it can be an ally, it can be a foe, like it could even be like just an NPC that you meet on the sea. You never know.
Yes, Rotgut.
Rotgut the pirate. Yeah, exactly.
Now, Sean, I know that in the mall we have an apothecary, and you're trying to add a character for that.
Yeah, so it'd be neat if maybe we can take that guy who was in the Apothecary and like actually make him playable.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. So how do we do that?
Well, you can add the one from Adaptable NPCs.
Oh, the Apothecary.
Yes, this one's very cool. It's a fairly low CR rating for this NPC, but the features that he has or she has is actually really, really neat.
Yeah, you can't really tell. It's underneath this blue cloak. It looks a lot like the blue mages from Final Fantasy.
Yeah, you know what? That is so
mage.
true. That is so true. Yeah, with like the eyes.
But I really, really enjoy this one. One of the things they get, so obviously they get proficiency in tools.
Yeah.
So they get alchemist supplies. They can also add both its intelligence and its wisdom to checks made using them.
Yeah.
So it's really good at mixing little stuff.
Right, and then it gets like a kind of like a lucky feat where if you roll a 1 on a d20 for attack, roll, ability check, or saving throw, you can re-roll it. But the one thing that we liked was the administer concoction feature.
Yes, the apothecary can drink or administer a potion using its bonus action. So instead of having to waste an action in order to use a potion or to shove it down the gullet of your friend here,
right,
this guy can actually help you out and use his bonus action to do that.
Yeah, it's really cool. This is like a very nice supportive kind of NPC that you can possibly newly added to your party, but it also has some offense as well. It has a staff. It also has Alchemist's Fire, so you can kind of basically toss like a little fire at your enemies. It does like 1d4 damage, but again, it's not really built to kind of like blow away opponents. It's really nice as a utility NPC.
Yeah, and as a recharge one on this one, he gets a recharge 6 ability here. That's Acid Vial. He can actually chuck a thing of acid at someone too, which is similar to the Alchemist's Fire as well. Now, this last one is really cool too, because we always have a bard in the party, but what happens if you don't?
Well, you can add the Minstrel to your kind of party there. Now, the Minstrel is basically like a bard, a little bit more aggressive, if I will say so myself. One of my favorite features is
she's
the rhythmic.
Fierce.
Yeah,
look at her. She's fierce.
Exactly. One of the best features on there is rhythmic fighting, actually,
which I still think is interesting. So the Minstrel can play an instrument with one hand while fighting with the other. So she has a rapier in one hand and a castanet in the other.
Yeah, or something.
Or a trumpet.
Whatever they have. It's just kind of neat. And while doing so, they have a melee attacks against the Minstrel actually have disadvantage because you're just being so distraught by the wonderful music that they're playing.
I would be distracted just to see that.
Yeah, right.
It's like that guy that comes up with the one-man band with the thing between his legs and the drum in the back.
Going off at the same time.
All that kind of thing. But they do get a lot of other things too. They get some spell casting that's in there, a couple of cantrips, first level spells, some second level spells, neat stuff there. They do add hit points to was like a Song of Rest kind of thing.
Yeah, so it's kind of similar to that. So basically during a short rest, your allies can gain a 1d6 hit points anytime they do use hit dice. So it's not like the Bard where you can, add it directly. Yeah, it's just like here where you just add a d6, but it's still really good, especially since it's a CR2. If you use this kind of early on, it's very, very beneficial to the party. So
That's true. Now they also get Guiding Inspiration they can do once per day when a minstrel or a friendly creature that can see or hear the minstrel is within 60 feet fails a saving throw. The minstrel can allow the target to reroll the save. The target must keep the second result. So it's kind of like the lucky trait again,
except
but
for
it's not restricted to a 1.
And
it's for someone else. Which is interesting because there is actually a continuation of the lucky trait in one of the books over there. I believe it's either Mordenkainen's or Xanathar's that actually allows you to give it to someone else.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which makes halflings not as bad as I thought.
Wow. So, someone saved that.
No, that's being deleted when I haven't put it in the video.
But it's great to know that we picked the ones that were kind of interesting. There are actually a lot of different NPCs. There are spellcasters that can blow things up. You have your long-range ranger classes. You have your
big tanky
You have your warriors and your paladins. There's a huge variety and a multitude of different CR ratings that you can find within the content itself.
I mean, there's 67 more than what we named. We don't want to go into them because you should definitely check this thing out. Go ahead and search it on the DMSGuild. I'm sure you guys can find it there. And I like this because this brings us to our last thing, the thing we want to talk about on this, is that a lot of times people end up making their characters, their NPC characters for their campaigns. Like if you're a DM, they usually end up making these player characters. Like they'll sit there and hash out what a level 20, 20th level ranger is like because they want to have this, instructive kind of elderly kind of guy who teaches the party.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is that now you're either overpowered to the party or if your party decides to turn on you, you're going to kill them. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happens with that. By making them stat blocks, that's how you get around that.
It also helps reduce a lot of hassle. Having to create a whole other player sheet and having to implement an entire other player into the party can kind of create a lot of problems. It does more work for you than you actually don't need to. This is a great example of like just by using a stat block, you're simplifying a lot of the work and you're not really worrying about like, oh, what can it do? What kind of hit points does it have? Blah, 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 blah.
Right.
It gives you a chance to worry about the important stuff like the motivation, why they're there, what kind of NPCs they're going to run into, more things that are kind of supplementing the story and your players rather than trying to worry about how much dice it can roll for.
Yeah, not to mention, you know how long your players take when they don't know their characters? If you're having to make NPCs for classes you haven't played with, believe me, it takes a while to figure out what they're going to do in a combat situation or something.
Precisely, yeah. One of the last things that's actually in this content, and something that you can do as well, is that they add a couple of little short quest hooks and a little short maps that you can actually play to possibly introduce NPCs or to have them involved in the story. And this is great because, a lot of the time, maybe we'll just toss in a couple monsters, but it's good to once in a while toss in like those like special NPCs that like, even if they just do a couple extra attacks, they might add something more to the story. They might have their own dialogue. There's a lot of things you can do by adding NPCs like this that are a little more special than your run-of-the-mill goblin.
Right, and if you think that these are cool, just wait. I hear Adaptable NPCs 2 is on its way
and
very
I can
soon.
only imagine how many more NPCs that you'll get to add to your campaign.
Now, if you guys would like to send us something to review, you can most definitely do that at dmbrewcrew@gmail.com, right down there. Remember to like and subscribe all the way in this corner. It's a little red square down there with the Google, the YouTube Play button.
Yeah.
I was going to say Google Play. It's not
It's
Google
hard
Play.
to miss.
Yeah.
And we also want to thank all of our patrons who have been supporting us thus far. You can also go down to our Patreon link down below. Every little bit helps when it comes to providing equipment, reviewing content, and things like that. So we do appreciate those who've been supporting us, and thank you again.
And if you have something to send us, please do, and we'll see if it actually gets in our bi-weekly game, The Maw, which we play here and is around so we can play test your material.
Yes, that's every other Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time.
And remember, the best campaigns are always the ones that are homebrewed. So until next time,
Keep brewing.